Good evening, everyone. It's 6:30, and I'll call the meeting of the Guilford Selectboard to order. My name is Zon Eastis, and here it is Monday, January 22nd, 6:30 p.m. We'll start the meeting this evening. We have a quorum. Welcome to everyone who's here in the room, and welcome to those folks on online. Oh, I see. Elizabeth Simon is actually Tara. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay, good.
Okay?
Well, I didn't know who Elizabeth was, so that's good. Very interesting. Okay, good. All right. I was just going to say that Tara may be along, but here she is. Good. Nice to see you. Good. All right. So we'll start the meeting by asking Rusty to read the rules of procedure, please.
The Select Board has a set of rules and procedures that are for all Guilford public meetings and are now shared with all committees and commissions. They are here in the chat online and published on the town website. These rules request that everyone present at the meeting conduct themselves in a civil manner. Tonight, individuals will have a reasonable amount of time to comment on actions the Select Board is considering. Comments and questions will inform Select Board's decision-making process. Individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Comments will be heard, not responded to. There will be no exchange between the Select Board and the commenter. No questions will be responded to. Any questions will be recorded and responded to in a timely fashion. Additionally, here in the room and in the chat online, there is some basic information which includes how to contact Select Board members, how to secure a spot during the community comment portion of the meeting, how to get on the agenda, and how to communicate with the board via mail or email.
Thanks, Rusty. I will also just like to say about this policy that we have about procedures and so forth, that clearly it's here so that we can manage the meetings as when we need to manage the meetings very tightly. I actually have appreciated the meetings that we've had for the last few meetings in which we've been able to open them up a little bit to the community and maybe not follow these policies tightly. So I appreciate folks' willingness to let us run a healthy meeting with as many voices as we can get into the conversation. So thank you. Just want to say that. Changes to the agenda order. I think that, oh no, sorry, here I go again. Welcoming of the public.
Okay, well, I have not received messages from anybody who had a community comment to offer, but if anybody in present company has a pressing desire to say something, we could give a tiny pause and see whether there are any takers. Hearing none.
Thank you, Veranda. All right, I'm speaking to the folks who are online right now on the Zoom call. I see Dan's iPad. Dan, could we ask that you identify yourself with first and last name for our record so we can keep the minutes straight? If that name doesn't change fairly soon, then we'll put you in the waiting room. Okay, thanks very much. All right, changes to the agenda order. I think there are none this evening, so I think we can move right ahead to approval of the minutes of the January 8th meeting. Is there?
I so move.
Thanks, Brenda. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Rusty. Is there any discussion about those minutes? All right, so we need to do a roll call. So Tara, I will start with you this evening. Okay to approve?
Aye.
Thanks, Rusty.
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Zon says aye. Thanks very much.
Do we need to approve the minutes of the special meeting as well?
We could, but I think what we might wait to do is do those at a next special meeting. That's what we're
Oh,
actually,
Or
I
the
think
next
so.
meeting.
Yeah.
Okay,
the
very
next-
good.
yeah,
They were still in draft form.
Yeah.
So.
Because I had a chance to look at them, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
Okay. All right, so then I think we'll slip right on to the updates and reports from a town administrator and then from our highway commissioner. So are you ready? Can you do that?
Yes, of course I can.
Let me check. Dan's iPad, we still need to see your first and last name. You do that by there, up in the corner of your little box that says Dan's iPad, you should see 3 dots. If you click on those 3 dots, you should be able to rename your, so see how Erica's showing up at the top there. Those 3 dots there. If you can go to those 3 dots and it says rename
rename
Yeah.
that.
Then if you could change your name, then we can keep the record straight.
Charlie. Okay, so it is a very busy time in and around the town office. I have been working a lot with a lot of different people, but mostly Ellie Meinen, our treasurer, to get the financial reports to our town auditors that they need to put the town report together. That is kind of exciting. This year there's a lot more reporting, thanks to Ellie and her wonderful, thorough dedication to telling everybody what's going on. So you're going to see a lot more funds reported on in this year's town report. And so that's something that we've been working on, mostly Ellie, but I have a look at each one of them to make sure that everything is cool before she sends them off. So that's just about to go out the door. I think February 1st, the town report is going to be printed. I've also been busy rounding up the reports from various social services that we give appropriations to, so they can go in the town report, and writing my own something about the capital asset management program that I'm working on that we will deliver shortly. A little news, there are sample ballots for the presidential primary, which is also on our town meeting day. Those ballots can be viewed on our website they're posted at the Green River Covered Bridge at the Guilford store. There are also in those places, not on the website, but in the physical locations, there are voter checklists for you to look at and make sure your name is on there. Please don't take it home with you. You can also look at one in the town office if you like. And there are instructions on the website to just refresh your memory about how to fill out your ballot. This year, because it's a presidential primary and it's Vermont, doesn't make you declare a party. So what you're going to have to do when you show up at the polling place or request an absentee ballot, you're going to have to request a ballot. So you request, it's only the major parties, so you request Democratic or Republican ballots and you vote that, and that's it. So I'm also getting really busy working on town meeting prep. There are tables available for nonprofits and local groups to be in the hallway at the school during town meeting. I've emailed everybody I know who had one in the past, so if you haven't or you didn't hear from me and you'd like to have a table in the hallway at the school during town meeting, just get in touch with me, townadmin@guilfordvt.gov, and I'll sort you out. Today we're going to discuss briefly, probably, something we do every year called a mileage certificate. It's something that we send to the state in order to get our allotment from the state for how many miles of highway we have in town. And this year we have discontinued 0.2 miles of our highway. So I've been saving all this paperwork for this moment to send to the state to tell them about the 0.2 miles. So I'm pretty excited about this one. And something I just got today, but it's timely, so I will tell you if I can find the piece of paper. I got a notification of a public hearing from Wyndham Regional Commission today. The topic is water quality plan, and it's January 24th, so that's Wednesday. This Wednesday at 6 p.m., Wyndham Regional is having a public hearing about water quality plan for the Deerfield River and the Connecticut River. So if that is something that interests you, check Wyndham Regional Commission's website, wyndhamregional.org, and information will be there, or get in touch with me and I can send it to you. It's a Zoom meeting. That's it.
Thank you, Erica. Once again, the many different angles and the many different things, situations. All right, Dan, can we hear from you? Why don't you come up so we can,
a little bit.
come a little bit so we can catch you on camera?
Is this better? Well, we've been kind of busy lately with the storms and stuff. We've used about 1,300 yards of sand so far, almost 100 ton of salt. We got shitty weather coming in this week, so we'll be out doing that. All the equipment's been holding up pretty good. Just regular routine maintenance, oil changes and stuff like that. The other day I backed into the salt shed and I raised my body up and I wasn't paying much attention. We got a little work to do to the shed. We're gonna fix it so it ain't gonna be, we have to be careful what we do, so.
Oh, I see.
But, it was me, I was tired and just had a little boo-boo with the body, so. Didn't hurt nothing on the truck, but it broke some the header up.
Okay.
I have our yearly reviews to do. Whenever you get it, I have them all done. You can call me sometime this week and we'll try to pick the time in here so we can sit down with the guys and go through our yearly reviews.
Okay.
We were cutting brush until we started getting the weather. We've been out cutting some trees, I mean, here and there, but we've been pretty lucky compared to the high winds and, the heavy rain. And way back in December, we did have a few culverts plug up and we lost some ditches. I mean, just normal stuff. By the time you get there, it's too late. They're already, and it's the leaves. And we've spent all fall blowing leaves right up until we couldn't blow leaves anymore. So other than that, that's about it.
All right. Thank you.
So,
Does anybody have any select board member have a question for either Dan or Erica? Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Don't hit Connie on your way back. Okay. Now we'll move on to old business, folks, and we will take a few minutes and see if we need to talk anything about the town meeting preparations. The town meeting, just to say it once again, so we all know, is Tuesday, March the 5th. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning at the Guilford School, and the select board has appointed Veranda and Michael to serve as a subcommittee to just make sure that things can go as smoothly and as well orchestrated as possible. Is there anything you guys would like to say?
Yeah, I would like to say it. I feel really strongly that I want to make sure that we have childcare and microphone runners. I've been in touch with the school about really strengthening our civic ties with the school, just in terms of that as many kids as possible can know what town meeting is really about and how that relates to their own meetings that they have in their classrooms. I've found out what the requirements of the supervisory union are for people who are going to be working with Guilford children. I haven't reached out to the Guilford store. I'm imagining that we have a lunch plan, but I will.
We'll get to follow up on
I will certainly do that. But people have been, the teachers that I've spoken with, especially Sarah Rosso, have been really enthusiastic, and it could be that the library will also be a partner in sort of helping to provide books that will help teachers raise awareness about what town meeting is. So that's been really interesting to see the changes over time and how formal everything needs to be.
Anything you want to add, Michael? No? This one? Okay, thanks. All right, then we'll move right on to the next order of business, which is the Stony Hill Road South renaming request and the process there. You may recall, Select Board, that we got a request, it's been some months now, for us to consider renaming Stony Hill Road. We did some talking about it for a while, and we've just because of other issues have set it aside. We're ready to take it up again. And it's a pretty straightforward process. It's not as involved as the potential throwing up of a road. In this case, it's a matter of holding a public hearing, listening at the hearing, and then the select board makes a decision. I think it's about that simple. We are, as I understand it, we can have the public hearing during a select board meeting, rather than having a separately called meeting. We aren't required, I don't think, to make our decision right after the hearing is held. It's an option, but we can put those things together. So in talking with Erica, you'll correct me if I'm saying anything wrong here, but I'm hoping that we can hold that public hearing at the February 26th meeting. So 2 meetings from now. We would just convene as part of the meeting. There would be a public hearing about, what we need to do. There are several steps that Erica will have to do, which is, for instance, letting the abutters to the road know the situation, know the hearing date. It has to be warned in a slightly more official way than some of our other meetings. And then we would conduct the hearing and then move. So does that sound about right?
Exactly.
Whew.
Yep.
All right. So are people comfortable with us just having the meeting inside the select board meeting?
Yes.
So we don't have to pay a site visit, do we?
No, it's not.
No,
No, it's
not
not
for
that.
renaming.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
not for renaming. Yeah. Hopefully we can all read a map. Get a picture of what it is. I think the action for us would be to authorize, if we're all in agreement. Tara, you comfortable so far?
Mhm.
If what we need to
Yes.
do this evening is authorize Erica to move ahead with this public hearing, to actually call a public hearing on our behalf, and then put out the proper notices, and then we would conduct the hearing on February 26th. All right, so I'll make that motion that we would authorize Erica to take care of this work for the select board, and that we would plan to have the hearing on February 26th at our regular select board meeting.
I'll second.
Thank you, Michael. Is there any discussion here at the board first?
I just have one, have they had any names that they want to call these?
Yes, they're recommending a name, and just to say it clearly, we'll hear what that is
Yeah.
on February 26th. And just to be very clear, the select board is not bound to name it that name necessarily. We can if we want, if we think it makes good sense, or there are other options that we can bring forward as well. So I just might want to be thinking about that, and I'll let you know what that is as we go forward.
And just to be clear, is this for the very short length of road
Yes.
before the?
Yeah. Now, their initial request, the Bellegore's initial request was that, well, see, the way the map looks, there's Weatherhead Hollow, and then off it comes for just 2.2 miles.
It's not
very
like
short.
a tenth of a mile.
Yeah, very short. Comes this road called South Stony Hill Road, which is spelled differently than Stony Hill at the north end. But okay, so there's and so the Bellegore's original request was that the entire road. Well, let's go back one step. Right now, informally, the address for the Viking Village is on South Stony Hill Road. That's not a town road. They've just simply adopted that road name for identification purposes. And so what they're asking us to do is to name just the part that we have oversight over, and then depending on what our decision is, they may choose to name the remainder of the road according to what we do, or not. Yeah. So the select board has no control over naming a private road. So that's part of this discussion. All right, is there any comment in the community? Anybody have anything you'd like to offer to this conversation? I think it's pretty straightforward. All right. Okay, all right. So I think we can go ahead. There's Tara. All right, I think we can go ahead and vote, Tara, on this. Are you in favor of a public hearing on February 26th authorizing Erica?
Aye.
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Zon says aye. Thanks very kindly. Okay, now we come to the next order of business, which is the articles for the 2024 town meeting. And select board, here they are. Thank you, Dan.
Thanks,
Thanks
Dan.
very much. There's a sheet there. Erica, Tara, you'll have to look at the document in the file, all right?
I've got it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, thank you very much. Ultimately, what we're going to be doing here this evening is we are ultimately going to be adopting a set of articles to put to place in the warning. We have in front of us the potential for sending 27 articles for the town meeting this year. That's something of a record. It turns out that seven of them are of the exact same order. It's those organizations that are seeking to be tax exempt. So once the town in the meeting gets the hang of doing it, it should go pretty straight. So, and I don't intend this evening that we should talk through all 27 of these articles. But I would like to point out a few things. Here's another extra copy. We all set? I would like to point out a few things about the articles, just so we can be clear. And then I want to bring up another issue, but let's first look at the articles and just talk through them. The first four articles are articles that we've seen in our town every single year. Elect a moderator, we hear a report from the town auditors, then we hear from the library trustees, and then we make a few from the floor elections. That's very standard. We've done that in the past. The next article we've also seen a lot, just not at this point in the agenda, and that's that we're going to authorize for the what we call the 009 budget, which is the highway fund budget. And this will all be available in the town report. As Erica pointed out, it's going to be printed at the beginning of February. People should have the town report for about a month, I imagine, or at least 3 weeks, something like that, before the town meeting. So there'll be lots of opportunity. There's also on February 27th, there is a pre-town meeting at which we can all talk together about the articles and these budget issues. Then so that's Article 5 is the highway budget. Then we have 8 articles that are going to be placed in front of the 003 budget question. In traditional, the way we've been doing it for years is we vote immediately after the highway budget, we vote for the town budget, and then we have a whole bunch, we have had in the past, a bunch of articles that could have affected the town budget that we just approved. So I'm switching it around this year, just so everyone knows it's the chair's responsibility to order the articles for the town meeting. So I'm placing all the articles that might have an effect on the budget, on the 003 budget. I'm placing those before we consider the 003 budget. So in other words, we hope, we're working on the technology, we hope that, let's say for instance, a particular town article gets amended or doesn't pass or something, we hope to be able to, in real time, adjust the numbers of the 14th article, which is the 003 budget that we'll be having for folks to look at. We hope we'll have, if those numbers need to be altered, we'll have them in real time at the town meeting. So it'll require concentration from everyone to be sure. Okay, so the first 4 articles are the kinds of articles we've seen before. Of these, what I'm calling the 003 articles, shall the town support the raise and appropriate the sum for the Guilford Fire Department? Shall we raise $35,000 for the fire department's capital sinking fund? We've seen this now for a few years. Shall the town raise an appropriate sum of $3,000 for a social service agency who is in the 3-year cycle to get on the list? And then Article 9 is the list of the social service agencies. I want to talk for just a second. Bear with me. I just realized today, from personal experience, that, and it's raised a set of questions in Article 9. There's a question about the visiting nurse and hospice for Vermont and New Hampshire. I happen to know from personal experience that visiting nurse of hospice of Vermont, New Hampshire no longer serves Guilford. We're no longer part of their service area. I was attempting to find hospice for my wife, and they told me that was not possible. I called again today to find out whether or not they serve our community. They do not. So the question is here, Select Board, there's no policy that talks about how what we should do in a case like this. There's nothing that tells us what to do. I talked to a former chair who had signed the original policy, a former select board chair had signed the original policy. That person said, then the select board needs to decide what to do. And the options seemed to be that we could take them out of the list tonight and just not have them in the list at all. So that would reduce, we would have to recalculate the article numbers, the budget numbers a little bit, take it out entirely. We could leave it in tonight, pass it forward, or we could pull it out as a separate article, something like Article 8. We should ask the town if we want to have them re-up again, or we could just leave it the way it is and talk about it at town meeting. And I might not be the only person who brings it up. There might be other people in our community. Their report, just so you know, says that they have served, they have to talk about last year, they talk about having served families. Well, this organization was bought by Dartmouth in the last year and has since changed their plans about how they work in the community. So I understand they will not be working in our community any longer. So personally, I don't see any reason that Guilford needs to be paying them for services that we're not possibly going to get. So I would just take a moment here in the middle of all this and talk with the board. What's your pleasure this evening? Do you think we should remove it from the list tonight? Shall we create a separate article, or shall we just leave it here because it's kind of at the last moment, and then talk about it at town meeting? And maybe there's another option someone's thinking about. What do people think?
I think we should remove it from the list. If they're not gonna do anything for Guilford, there's no sense for us paying $6,300, I don't think.
Yeah.
I agree.
All
I
right.
agree as well.
Do you have a feeling, Tara? Whoops. Sorry, Tara, you're muted.
I also agree to remove it because then it will make things accurate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, just
And,
type.
you know, if they're in the Dartmouth network, then they have them. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, they have Dartmouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also the possibility that if they change their policies or practices, then they could re-enter next year in the same format that we've been doing this in the past. Yeah.
So Zon, just not that we would add anybody, but
Too many, but yeah.
no, I mean, but
Yeah.
just in theory, is there some other visiting nurse hospice group that is available for Guilford?
Not that I'm aware of. This might be a reason to leave it in a little bit, is to do a little bit more research. And we won't be able to do anything, we won't be able to replace anybody because it requires a petition and all that, and that time's all gone. But at least for this year. But I understand there's another hospice service in the community, but I don't understand enough about what its oversight, what kind of organization it is. It's Beata Hospice, and they have hospice services, they also do all sorts of other services, and I don't know whether it's a nonprofit organization.
It's not, it's for profit.
It's for profit. That's what I thought. That was my instinct. So that would be just basic information for us
Yeah.
to think about for
Okay.
the future.
But
So-
we wouldn't have time to add it anyway, even if they were to petition a new group.
Exactly. No, the petition time ended a couple days ago.
And I was just thinking,
Right.
Tara, for people who might be shocked and have need,
Right. Right.
that if we knew of some other group, it would just be a matter of information, not that we would add anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Do we need to vote on
We
it?
just need to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to eliminate the visiting nurse and hospital of
All
Vermont.
right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Michael? All right. Is there any further discussion here at the select board? All right. Is there anything anybody in the community would like to say?
Do you think they even, Steve Lemke, Green River, do Do you think they even know that they were on the warrant?
Yes, they submitted a request to us
And a report.
and a report
And a report.
requesting more funding for the next year.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
But did they at the same time say that they couldn't provide the services?
Well, it's a little bit tricky. The letter speaks to the services they did provide and then talks about the importance of funding. So, I mean, it's, you know, it's reasonable. I mean, we only know about this because of my personal accidental situation, my home life. But otherwise, I wouldn't have even known that they weren't serving in our community. Makes me kind of wonder, I should go through and check all of these, but yeah. Anyway, is there any other conversation or any other comment in the community? All right, folks, thank you very much. Good.
Wait,
Tara?
does anybody know, like the status of Guilford Cares? How many nurses Guilford Cares has? Only because I know that they've had a lot of limits in not having, or just having one nurse. And it's such a wonderful asset to Guilford. And it also overlaps with hospice and checking on people. So that's something I can research too.
Their report for this year talks about their nurse, singular nurse, but how wonderful she is. So I think that's what they have.
But Tara, that might be an interesting discussion to have about whether they might be able to ramp up their nursing with more funding, although I'm not sure that it would cover the shortfall.
I have talked to the nurse in the past, and she was only allowed to do so many hours because they don't have the money. So,
well, this is the kind of thing we might want to just make a little bit aware, make community members more deeply aware beyond this room here, and it might be something that we could talk with. You know, I'm just throwing out the idea that maybe there's a possibility for some, in the next year, some sort of consideration for Guilford Cares, possibly. I don't know. All right, so let's take a vote then. So in favor of removing visiting nurse and hospice for Vermont and New Hampshire from the list of social service agencies, Tara?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
And Zon says aye. Thank you. So just the implication of what we just did, and this is an example of what might happen at town meeting, is now Article 14, which speaks about everything, will be altered slightly. And so we're going to approve the list of articles. We won't be approving the actual numbers tonight because those are part of the budget, which has now just been changed a little bit. This is how it works. And so we'll get all those numbers correct for the printing, and then hopefully we'll leave things frozen for a while until the town meeting, and we can all talk again about potentially. All right, thank you for that process. So that's Article 9, which is about the social service agencies. Then I do want to talk about the next 4 articles on our list, which are Article 10, 11, 12, and 13. The first is the notion of the Winning County Sheriff contract for law enforcement services. This Article 11 is for increased town administrator and town treasurer staffing. Article 12 is an increase for town clerk and assistant town clerk staffing. And Article 13 is about the library, increased library staff and program services. And we agreed, at least theoretically, at the special meeting, that we would like all 4 of these articles to stand out as articles from the budget for the community to be able to talk about at the town meeting. That each was worthy in its own regard for being able to have a community discussion as part of the community's budgeting process. So I'm just checking in with everyone. I have no new information. I will say that the process for doing that is that if we were to take away these articles, it means that community members would need to bring these numbers forward if they wanted to bring them forward. This way they will be brought forward. All right? So nothing more fancy to say than just that. Making sure everyone's comfortable with that.
And so if community members want to offer amendments to the numbers, they can do that from the floor.
That will happen, yes. There's a whole process that Rick will be, assuming it's Rick as our town moderator.
All right.
If he's elected, there's a process that the moderator will operate for the town to make sure that we get to the right numbers. And I will also say that once we approve this list tonight and it's done, then not only with these 4 articles, but with some other articles that are along the way here, I will be speaking with each of the affected persons in these articles and get them prepared for the town meeting so they can be well prepared for discussions that might happen at the town meeting. I won't tell them what to say, but just talk about the process and how it works. And that they will be responsible for speaking with the town. The select board is not responsible for, that's part of what we're doing here. The select board is not going to be responsible for trying to answer technical questions related to these questions. This does bring up one other thing that I want to talk about with the select board, and that's that we've had requests, and I've had it a few times from community members, that the select board's stance on, say, these 4 articles might be made public at the town meeting. That if someone asked us, how does the select board feel, that we would be able to tell the community what we feel about each of these. What I'd like to do with regard to these 4 and a few others that are coming down the sheet, we can talk about this, is at the February 26th meeting, so the week prior to the select board meeting. So we have time to listen to the public, we have time to take information in. Then I think we'll want to go back and review this list and figure out how we stand on certain of these so that we can report. And what's been suggested to me that makes sense is that we would indicate whether we're for an article, whether we're not for it, whether we're neutral, or whether the select board is mixed. And that those might be the 4 choices that we would then, if someone asked us, we would say the select board is, and we would say how we feel about those. People that come to the meeting on the 26th would learn, so there'd be some preparation for people who want to know.
And so if I certainly have no problem in speaking up for my point of view, but I wonder if there's an option if the select board is mixed on our support of something, whether we're obliged to, or even if it's a good idea for us to say who is for something and who is against it.
I would say not. I think here's my view, friend. I think what we want to demonstrate to the community is that we've talked about these things, we've considered them, and we've made a decision together. And I don't think it's a matter of whether Rusty agrees with you or you agree with Rusty so much as the point that, but if you as an individual want to speak to anything, then I think that you could do that, but not as a member of the select board in that regard. That's what I would say. I don't know how other people feel about that, but we can talk about that more on the 26th.
Don?
Yes, Tim.
We had talked at last meeting about whether the select board can request that the different parties present the reasoning and offer information to the town to essentially back their article. Can we request that for the pre-town meeting from each party?
I think it probably makes sense. Let's see. Today is, yes, I'll say yes, that I hope I will try to make a commitment to reach everyone and talk with them so that, I don't want the select board to be in a position to answer to some of the technical questions that might come up about some of these articles. It's really better for the community to hear from the folks that put the budget items forward, I think, or
right, and I feel like I don't have all the answers without them presenting it.
Yeah, exactly. So I will get folks prepared for that too. I'm not sure that it will, I don't know what the format of that meeting exactly is going to look like. So, but it won't hurt to have people prepared. That's for sure. Yeah. Okay. Good point, Tara.
I just have a comment there, though. I believe it was the early December budget workshop covered several of these things. All of the
Yes.
budget workshops actually covered
Yes.
the stuff. I know that the library and the town clerk line were covered at the December, I think it was 11th budget workshop. I don't remember about the law enforcement.
Yeah, so I will say that's a good resource. Thank you for pointing that out, Erica. That those budget workshops are online, they're available to the public, and those have the conversation that happened at that time. And then the select board will consider them even further, so.
But I do think that having a succinct few paragraphs with maybe a graphic, from the point of view of, let's say, the library, just to make it perfectly clear.
Okay.
I wouldn't expect our town officials to have a graphic about what they need, but.
Yeah, and I think clearly I'm not going to suggest to any one of these, not just these four, but the ones coming later, that there be a kind of presentation to the town or anything. I think they're there to answer questions and help the community understand whether or not these articles need to go forward.
Well, at pre-town meeting, I think, to me, that is a chance for people
Okay.
really to
I'll
learn more.
Since Rick is still the moderator for that meeting, I will contact him and find out how that will work. And let's make sure it all works well.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, then.
And that's how
Go ahead,
that's
sorry.
how I feel. I understand that there's budget workshops and then they're also recorded, but not everybody's going to watch them. Not everybody went. The pre-town meeting is an opportunity for people to show up and ask questions. I think that's
Yeah.
very important.
Okay, yeah. Good. All right, then Article 14 will be the article about the 009 budget, the general budget, and those numbers that we're looking at right now are going to be different than they are right now already tonight. And so we'll address that. Then comes three more articles right after that I will also ask these three folks to be prepared to answer questions. Article 15 is shall the town hold its meeting. It's about changing the date of the town meeting to another date. And Article 16 and 17 are about moving Guilford entirely to Australian ballot to deal with all questions. So that essentially there would be no town meeting. There would be instead a date when the election happens, and there would be a pre-town, then it's required that there be a pre-town meeting. Right now, our pre-town meeting is a very nice tradition that we have in our community, not required. It's something we work have worked with the Grange traditionally on. We had to have it during COVID because of the Australian ballot questions. So we're just kind of balancing in between all this. So Articles 16 and 17 are about moving budget articles in Article 16 and Article 17 is all public questions to Australian ballot. Then the next 7 articles from 18 through 24 are from organizations that are seeking to gain tax exempt status. And we're rotating those a little bit to try to get them on a rotational cycle rather than having to deal with them all again in 5 years. So there are 3, some for 3 years, some for 4, and some for 5. And then the last 3 articles are the same articles that we've always seen. Shall we allow the town treasurer to collect taxes? And shall there be an interest? The next article is about an interest rate for overdue taxes, and then the final article is to transact any other business that can come before the town at that time. And I will say that it's important to note that in Article 27, we've been advised, or in workshops we're taking, that no binding business can happen in Article 27. There can be any number of questions brought forward, but there can be no binding business taken by the town in Article 27. All of the reason for town meeting is to get our ducks in a row and have everything planned. So there are no surprises that will pop up in Article 27. So we can certainly talk about things, we can raise issues and so forth like that, but no binding business. Okay, folks, so that's all the articles and a quick run through. How does everybody feel at this point? Are we ready to, are there any questions here? Are we ready to vote on this?
Yes.
Tara?
I have a clarifying question. Article 16 and Article 17 about adopting the Australian ballot and then having all votes, questions be by Australian ballot. Did you say that that will eliminate town meeting, or will we still have a town meeting?
No, the reason, we don't need to have a town meeting, because the reason to have a town meeting is to do the very business that we would be voting by Australian ballot. And so all the issues, all the things that we do from the floor now would be turned into Australian ballot questions. And that's as I understand it. I might be wrong, but that's as I understand it so far from going to workshops and things.
So theoretically, I'm just asking, if the town voted to adopt all budget articles by Australian ballot, then Article 15 about holding the annual meeting on Saturday, even if people approved of it, they're mutually exclusive.
Yeah, well, at least, there's a confusion here, and I think it's tricky
Okay.
for the community, yeah, so that's partly why we put the one article, the article about changing the day in front, so that if it gets eliminated, we're not trying to re-question ourselves about when to have a meeting if it just got eliminated before, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, all right, so.
Okay.
So there are pros and cons to all of these. Talk to other communities. Other communities have moved their meetings to other dates. There are other communities that use all Australian ballot, and there are all sorts of feelings about all of that. So that's what we're addressing this year. Okay. All right. I will move that we approve the articles as discussed. And forward them on to the town meeting. Is there a second for that?
I'll second.
Thank you, Rusty. All right, is there any further discussion here at the board?
I just want to say that we're going to send the whole shebang to the town's attorney to check it over after.
All right, so that's part of our
After
process,
they're
yeah. And so that'll be done.
fixed
Yeah.
after this conversation.
So do we have to add the little comma about assuming that our town attorney approves of this, or can we just approve of?
No,
I think it's part of the process.
I think it's just part of the process.
Okay.
And so any changes that the town attorney makes are not going to be substantive changes to the action. It may just be some language that needs to be altered slightly to help clarify the question.
And they'll check the statutes.
Yeah, make sure that
Right.
everything's in the right order.
Yeah, I really like actually that for the first time, it seems like in our social service warnings, we have a tagline about what they actually do. That's, I think that's a good innovation.
That is a recommendation from VLCT.
All right, is there any comment from the community? Anyone wants to say anything?
Would it be possible to request that you read us the language of 16 and 17 since we haven't seen it?
Sure, and we're not even absolutely certain that it's correct, but we think it probably is. Article 16 says, "Shall the town of Guilford adopt all budget articles by Australian ballot?" And the statute reference is 17 VSA section 2680C. And then Article 17 is, "Shall the town of Guilford vote on all public questions by Australian ballot?" And the reference there is 17 VSA section 2680D. And just for clarity, make sure that we know that the town of Guilford has already voted to do some, not all, but some elections by Australian ballot. And we're used to that. We go into the booth and elect select board members, for instance, and other folks in town. So we know what it means to do things by Australian ballot. All right.
Can I continue? Public questions, this is an interesting term that I think we've all tried to figure out what it means. is not everything else on a typical warning is not a public question, I don't think.
Correct.
I believe a public question is something like the library expansion last year. That would have been considered a public question under this article. But the two articles together don't appear to me to cover everything that happens at town meeting, in which case the idea that it eliminates all of town meeting, I'm not sure if that's correct.
I'm not sure either. I'm not sure. We'd have to follow up. What is required if we move all three of our aspects of voting to a joint ballot is that we're required to have it's a required pre-town meeting. And what I've learned is that other towns use that as their town meeting.
Right. You're required to have an informational meeting anyway, if you have any kind of public question on Australian ballot.
Right.
Yeah.
So some of the things that maybe like, the moderator would be elected at that point, for instance, or something. I just don't know all the rules yet. We'd have to figure all that out if we go there.
Okay. We'll see
Steve
what
had a
happens.
question too.
Oh, sorry.
At the last meeting, when you talked about articles, and I'm sorry I didn't break down.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
about the sheriff, the town administrator, the
Yeah.
treasurer, the town clerk, the library?
Yeah.
Which are, what are those?
10, 11, 12, 13?
10, 11, 12, 13, those articles.
Yeah.
There was a fair amount of discussion about the fact that I didn't think it would just be questions. I thought it was clear that we were asking for a presentation to be done by the sheriff, by the town administrator, by the treasurer, by the town clerk, and by the library, to say, this is where we were, this is what we're doing, this is why we need more of this. And I mean, we're talking about, I think, over $120,000 wrapped up in those things, and I don't think it should just be. And I think those presentations, whether delivered or not in total at pre-town meeting, I think they should be ready at town meeting, because these are issues that I think the town will be interested in. I think it would not be good for the individuals or the town to have sort of a half-hearted thing, said, okay, Sheriff Anderson, what about speeding? He needs to make a presentation if he wants us to spend $67,000 on law enforcement. So I feel strongly about that. So I just wanted, it was a little nebulous there when you said, well, it's just about questions, and it's maybe at pre-town meeting. I would like to see that tightened up a little bit.
Okay, thank you. I hear you.
Oh, there's another comment.
Yes.
Hannah Tustin, Assistant Town Clerk. So taking off that's a great question. I was hoping maybe if there are maybe some, maybe like a standard for the presentation, so everybody's kind of on the same page for those 4 articles, and everybody's kind of coming to the table with this, maybe the same kind of format, whether it's like a PowerPoint presentation or some visuals or something like that.
Okay.
So
I'll do some thinking and get that nailed out. I think I hear you, and it's good.
Okay, great,
So,
thanks.
yeah. Okay, let's see, we have to vote. Yes.
Wait, it's on.
And,
So, John brought up a point in that if the town adopts 16 and 17, then pre-town meeting would then essentially become the town meeting, the time to talk, correct? That's what was said?
That's what I have understood from various trainings and things, yeah. Because,
Can I make a motion to vote on 16 and 17 separately? To
You can
take that
amend-
out?
you can amend the motion that's on the floor right now, which would be to remove those for separate consideration.
I would like, and then we'd have to vote on that, correct?
So what we would do is, the way this would work, if I understand it correctly, is you would make an amendment that would receive a second. We would vote about whether or not we want to accept the amendment. Then we would talk about that amendment and vote on it, and then we would come back to the larger question. I think that's
Okay.
right. Sure.
I'm not sure I understand. Tara, could you explain what you would like?
I would like to make an amendment to vote on to vote to approve Articles 16 and 17 separately. That we vote whether we want to put it forward.
Oh,
So whether or not it would be part of the list that we're approving for this evening.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, is there any select board member that that wants to second? So you're making that as a motion then, Tara?
Yes.
Move to amend?
Yes, yes, correct.
All right,
I'm
move to
moving
amend.
to,
All right, here comes Rick Seymour. So is there anyone on the board who will second that discussion? Will second that?
I just am not sure, I mean, I guess I could see seconding it just for the sake of understanding it better, but I don't really. So Tara, are you suggesting, is it okay to ask a clarifying question
Yes.
before? Are you suggesting that the select board eliminate those two articles from consideration?
No.
no, I don't want to vote on them all together. I want the opportunity to vote on them separately.
But aren't they separate?
They're already separate.
They're already two.
No, she means separate
I
from.
thought we were gonna vote on them all together.
We would be submitting this entire list, and she's saying she doesn't want to submit the entire list without first voting on 16 and 17 separately. Talk about them separately before approving the whole list.
But I don't understand, because the whole point is that we're trusting the voters to weigh in on these things. So what would be the advantage of not giving them a chance to do that?
I don't know. You want to say something, Tara?
I
about
just
that?
don't want, if I don't agree with it, I don't want it to affect all the others. But I'm sure that I will be outvoted.
No,
So-
but I just don't understand. If we take
I don't want to take that right away from the voters, but I don't agree with it myself. So I just wouldn't want.
So Tara, here's a suggestion for you to consider. And you'll need to withdraw. Your motion doesn't need to be withdrawn because it hasn't gotten a second yet. It's nowhere
Okay.
yet. So, but one thing is that we are going to talk on the 26th of February. We'll set aside time in the meeting when we as a select board can say what we think as a select board, what we'll develop a stance for these that the community will understand then.
Okay.
And that might be the time we could, for instance, if we did that right now, I bet we would come up with a mixed vote about.
Right,
about
and
how-
I don't.
Yeah.
So I will withdraw my amendment to make a motion because I don't want to take that right away from the townspeople.
Okay, all right, okay.
But I do agree with you, Tara. I'm just saying.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah, I think we're gonna find out a lot on the 26th. That'll be interesting for the community to understand. As we've talked with folks and heard these things talked about in different ways. So it'll be good for the community to understand all that. Okay, so now standing on the floor with a second is the idea that we will be submitting all 27 of these articles as they stand this evening, and with the provision, with the improvements made by the town attorney, these will be submitted to the town for the town meeting.
And the removal of,
And the removal of the one
Visiting nurse.
social services, which will adjust the numbers of Article 14. Hell of a, all right, that's what we're voting on. Okay? I think we can do it. All right, so Tara.
Aye.
Thank you. Rusty?
Aye.
Michael? Aye. All right, and Miranda?
Aye.
Zon says aye. Okay, folks, that's a lot of work. We're just really doing all this stuff, and thank you very much. Now, we'll move on to,
Can I just ask a question?
yeah,
Tony Burton, with
Yeah.
Hollow Road. Were both of these put on the warning because they were petitioned?
citizen-led petitions, that's how they got here.
So it's not possible to take them off if
I
they're
believe that's
petitioned,
true.
right?
I think that's probably right, so
Yeah, I
that
think
was
that's-
another
that's the whole point
consideration.
of the petition.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so we didn't take them off.
Right, but
But they can.
couldn't anyway.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, good catch.
There's always wishful thinking.
Yeah,
Right.
so the community will address all 27 of these articles at the town meeting. That's what we understand at this point. All right, now we'll move on to new business, and then for these two, I'm gonna turn it completely over to Erica, because, well, we talked about the highway mileage certificate, we're adjusting our number.
Didn't want to do it.
Yep, so we've got 0.2 miles taken out of our class 3 total mileage, which brings the class 3 total mileage from 49.73 to 49.53. Otherwise, nothing has changed, so our total highway mileage is 77.683.
I will move that we forward this to the, we approve this number. All right.
I'll second.
Thank you,
I'll
Michael.
second.
Oh, I got a second from Michael, thank you, Tara. All right, so anybody have anything you want to say about this?
Well, I just want to know where the 0.2 miles
Well,
that
this is
were.
the part
Oh,
that
it's
we threw
Potash.
up.
Oh,
Yeah, Potash Hill that we referred
right,
to
right, okay.
to a
oh,
drive.
right, okay.
Okay.
Oh, silly me. Right.
No, not silly you. Life goes on. We don't remember everything. Okay, let's take a vote on that. Tara,
Aye.
Michael. Oh, I'm going out of order here.
Let's go.
Oh, Rusty.
Aye.
Michael.
Hi.
Brenda.
Aye.
Zahn says aye. Okay. All right, that's the first one. And then the second order of new business is that we'll be looking at the presidential primary warning and approving that.
Which
Right
is
here.
sideways.
Here for our friends at home.
How exciting.
It's the warning, which our town clerk will post after the select board signs it. And it just has all the information about our statewide presidential primary held on Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. To vote for the President of the United States, for candidates, sorry, for the President of the United States. And the polls will open at 10 a.m. on March 5th and close at 7 p.m. And the polling place will be located at the Guilford Central School. And absentee ballots will be available through Monday, March 4th at 5 p.m. And there's a bunch of other information on there, and it'll be posted all over the place. So
All right,
the
I
select board
will
needs to sign.
move that we accept and approve this Vermont presidential primary warning. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Rusty. All right, we'll go right to the vote here. I think it's pretty straightforward. Tara.
Aye.
All right, Rusty.
Aye.
Michael.
Hi.
Brenda.
Aye.
Zahn says aye. Okay, thank you very much. Now we'll move on to the warrants. Tara, are you prepared for those this evening?
I am, yep.
Okay,
So I move to accept the warrants as written for week ending 1/14/24. Payroll was $9,598.38. Week ending 1/21/24. Payroll was $8,331.95. And expense warrant number 2413 was $46,002.49 for a total of $63,932.82.
okay,
And
thank you.
most-
Let me just jump in here,
Sorry.
second your motion, and now ask if there's any information.
basically we spent a lot of money on gravel after all of the rain. So that was the big ticket item, and salt.
Danny told us a little bit about that tonight, yeah. Okay, all right, is there any, we've got a second? All right, so let's see if we can go ahead and vote for these. So, Tara,
Aye.
Rusty.
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
And Brenda.
Aye.
Zahn says aye. All right, thank you very much. I don't believe there's any other business to come before us this evening. There's no correspondence that I'm aware of. Actions approved from the previous meeting. Let me just go through those quickly, folks. We approved the minutes of the December 11th meeting. We changed the purpose of the Sweet Pond Fund. We updated the personnel policy. I'm not sure what that says. Disposition of delinquent tax penalties. I don't know.
Changed from being collected by the delinquent
Oh.
tax collector to going to the town.
Okay, yeah, where the funds go, yeah, okay, yes. Thank you, and appointed a subcommittee to explore the potential town meeting articles.
A article, I think.
Yeah,
I should
an
say.
article, yeah, an article, yeah, one article. All right, so actions taken at this meeting were that we approved the minutes. We approved the authorizing Erica to set a hearing date for the Stony Hill Road South naming request process. We approved the articles for the 2024 town meeting. We approved of a highway mileage certificate to forward to the state. We approved the presidential primary warning, and we approved the warrants for this evening. All right, there's one further action we can take this evening. We can adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Rusty. Is there a second? All right, thank you, Brenda. All right, Tara, are you willing to adjourn? All right, Rusty.
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
All right, Veranda.
Aye.
And Zon says aye. Thank you all very much. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.